Republican strategist Matt Klink and Democratic strategist Ari Aramesh are here with me right now to continue this conversation. Ari, when we hear Governor Gavin Newsom, for example, speaking of not abandoning President Biden, this message of loyalty and honor, will Hakeem Jeffries and other Democrats commit to this same narrative of not leaving their wingman, so to speak?
The only person who can go away, who can make Biden not be on the ticket, who can actually set things in motion for the party to go ahead and at least explore other options before and during the convention is President Joe Biden. There are laws. This man, our president, President Biden, after 50-some years of honest service to this country, well, he won the primaries. He's won 50 states and 4 or 5 territories, Guam, District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, so on and so forth. He can't just bring somebody else and say, well, his delegates now in the convention are going to vote for somebody else. Some people might face penalties for that. There are laws that prevent people from switching the vote. So if there is going to be a change, it has to be the president himself walking away and opening the field for other candidates. And the second issue is this. If you don't support Kamala Harris, our vice president, who has been a loyal vice president so far, and you let it open, she and her supporters are going to feel betrayed. She's been a loyal vice president, a good vice president for 3-odd years for President Biden. And the last issue is money. Many people, myself included, we've given money to the Biden-Harris campaign. Let's say Gavin Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer or Congressman X or Governor Y, they become the eventual nominee. You can't just transfer this money from Biden-Harris to whomever. There are, federal election laws that make this transfer of money rather difficult, if not impossible. So it's not easy.
It's nothing about this is easy at all. Matt, I know Republicans, of course, are happy to have President Biden stay in this race, but there have been talks that the GOP is looking at strategies should there be an alternate candidate. What are you hearing about that?
Well, there has to be a strategy where there is a younger, more dynamic 50-something-year-old candidate in the race, regardless of whether it's Kamala Harris or whether it's someone else, because it completely changes the dynamic of the race. Right now, this election is 95% focused on Joe Biden and his age and his ability to not only run for re-election for another 4 years, but to be able to perform the duties of the president of the United States right now. A new candidate in the race forces more of a focus back on President Trump, and it also focuses a more detailed conversation on issues and who has the more appropriate response for those issues. So, I mean, look, the campaign is going to plan for all eventualities, but it's really a binary world, one with Joe Biden and one without.
You know, Ari, President Biden speaking at a church in Philadelphia, I watched his comments. He quoted scripture that all things work together for good for those who love God, a very popular verse from the book of Romans. He did sound stronger. He made some jokes. He wasn't on prompter. He read off prepared notes. The crowd shouting, "I love you, we love you," and cheering. Are Democrats noticing the president is stronger in certain environments than others, or will more of these appearances give more credence to the fact that that debate performance was just a blip on the screen?
The president has to be strong in every situation, in every scenario, at every hour of the day. The problem is the alternative. While he might have some energy, he's a dishonest man. He's a man who was unanimously convicted in a court of law in New York by a jury of his peers. Well, the Supreme Court made its ruling, so he's probably going to get off the hook for all the remaining 70-some-odd criminal indictments or criminal counts against him. While President Biden lacked the sort of energy and to carry out, during that debate, and at times was lost. On the other hand, former President Trump just profusely lied on issue after issue after issue. But I got to give it to him. He was also more disciplined. I was expecting a much more cruel, much more undisciplined Trump attacking President Biden. It was really evident that President, Trump had practiced, he knew his lines, knew his punchlines, the key sort of immigration, illegal immigration, so on and so forth, and hit it hard. But again, I love President Biden. He served this country greatly. I am very worried about the future of this country. I think another Trump presidency, another 4 years under Trump would be devastating, not just for us, but for the free world, for NATO, for our allies in Asia. And we should do everything we can to elect anyone but Trump. And that's my concern. So that's why I'd like to see an alternative, a feasible alternative, and the sooner the better. You let this go on, 2 weeks is going to be harder than today, and 3 months is going to be harder than 2 weeks.
Yeah, we only have 4 months to Election Day. Matt, what will independents do you think, in light of all of this?
Right now, the independents are torn. I mean, look, the points that my colleague made are all well and good. But if you have someone who is sitting in the Oval Office right now that can't string together a coherent thought on a consistent basis, who needs to end events at 8 p.m. at night because he needs his beauty sleep, we'll make sure we call ahead to Xi Jinping and Putin and get them to hold off those foreign crises after 8 p.m. for Joe Biden. I mean, a little tongue in cheek here, but right now, independents are caught between a rock and the hard place. There's a lot of voters that, they call them double negatives, where they don't, or double haters. They don't like either candidate. But right now, if you have a candidate that you may not like versus a candidate that is intellectually and physically incapable of holding the office, it's the worst of both worlds. And look, this is a problem of the Democrats' own making. My only advice to them is they need to resolve it quickly so that they can move on, because since the debate, the topic has been first and foremost about one thing: whether Joe Biden can do this or not. That's not how you win campaigns.
All right, Matt Klink, Ari Aramesh, obviously a complicated time. And I think no matter what party you are affiliated with, we're all watching to see what happens for the future of our nation. Thank you again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good to be with you.